Remember those young Republicans that I talked about yesterday? Those young guys, those children, they're having to try and clean it up a little bit. Adam Mockler went on this debate thing on News Nation. It was all over the place. And he asked Charlie Kirk's producer about that story.
There has been a trend of, I think, let's just say, let's be gracious and say, in the era of Trump, maybe it's a reaction to Trump. I'm open to those discussions. But there is a justification for political violence. It shows up in every poll, and it's coming from progressives.
I have spent all of my formative years watching the President of the United States talk about the opposition party like they shouldn't exist. His claim to fame in U.S. politics was saying that Obama wasn't born in America. That is how he entered the political stage. He was famous before that, but that was his claim to fame. He was the first presidential candidate to ever chant "lock her up" on a political stage. He tried to coup our government. Well, and I live in this, let me finish. Listen. I live in the city of Chicago. Donald Trump, over the past 2 months, has not only posted an AI video of Obama being arrested, but then after that, he posted an AI image of Chicago being invaded. After that, he sent the National Guard to Chicago. So I've spent my formative years watching the president do this. And just think about this. We saw these Nazi group chats, which I'm sure you condemn, right? This Nazi group chat.
Well, we can talk about it.
Do you condemn it?
I want to talk about it.
Wait, so when they said gas chambers,
disavow.
When they say gas chambers, you won't. So you're like JD Vance. You just won't condemn this?
Well, I actually had JD on the show today. We had a whole conversation.
You guys can all condemn this, right?
Hell yes.
Thank you.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
But
Chris, can you condemn that?
Here's the point, of course. But that's easy. What I'm
for him, but you know what? This is not constructive, right?
Because what the constructive part is not. This is what. Look, what's happening here, and I know both of you guys, and I want to bring Joe in on this, and I want to get to the audience. But let's just be clear about where the path is forward. The comparison of which is worse is killing us. Okay, it's killing everybody. And
did you notice? In come everyone to the rescue for this sorry ass. He can't answer the question. I'm sorry, he could answer the question. He refused to answer the question. Do you condemn all of this rabid racism amongst the Hitler Youth of the Republican Party? We can just talk about it. I think it was Stephen A. Smith who was the only one who said he could, but Stephen A. Smith is an idiot. But Bill O'Reilly's old, crusty, decrepit ass had nothing to say. The main thing is in comes Chris Cuomo to save the day. Let's not point out how horrible you guys are on this topic. Let's not point out how hypocritical you are on this topic. Let's not point out how you've been incessantly lying about this topic. Let's just say this is not constructive. If it's not constructive, maybe you should talk to the guys who continue to destroy things in this country based on their white supremacy that they like to have in their chats. That also leads to policy, leads to their agendas, which leads to this Trump guy in the White House that's doing all these things to destroy this country based on those same principles of white supremacy. That's why that guy didn't want to talk about it. That's Charlie Kirk's producer. That's the other part of it. They want to continue to preserve this guy from this built-up name that they've got for him, when in reality, he was all about all that stuff too.
Grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. Like, we live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine with it.
JD Vance is open to being that guy that's going to be the mouthpiece for these young bigots, for these young racists, these young misogynists, these young homophobic and anti-Semitic pieces of shit. Do you notice we haven't been talking about the anti-Semitic element of this whole time because they want to continue to focus on the people that they feel that they've weaponized their movement against? Who cares about the racism? Who cares about the xenophobia? Who cares about the homophobia? Who cares about it? But they haven't said yet who cares about the anti-Semitism. Did you notice that? Have you seen a bunch of groups that talk about anti-Semitism? Ted Cruz earlier was talking about how these college campuses are protesting and they're anti-Semitic. That shit hasn't been happening for months, but he keeps going back to it. They say everything for the sake of bullshitting you and arguing you down from reality. But JD Vance is going to call these guys kids. Oh, man, just it shouldn't ruin their lives. You know what I mean? The way that you separate families and ruin children's lives, the way that you act like someone that was literally 2 or 3, 4 months old when they arrived in this country and then ruin their lives, send their parents or them off to some other country that they've never even been to before. Because, that's not ruining people's lives. When a white supremacist says that doesn't ruin people's lives, it's because he doesn't consider their lives as valuable as the white supremacist that JD Vance just said he's looking to protect. I was going to do this myself, but I saw multiple people post about this. JD Vance called them kids. This might be a little small for you guys to see right here. Here's some of those racists that were in those group chats and their ages. Peter Gunther is 31. Joe Maligno is 35. Annie Caddy is at 28. Alex Dwyer, 29. William Hendricks, 24. Luke Mosselman, 24. Samuel Douglas, 27. And Rachel Hope is also 27 years old. Those racists, those guys, those anti-Semites that I guess their funding should be pulled, just like the college campuses, they're 31 to 24 years old, 35 to 24 years old. Kids, children. And the young Republican situation range from 18 to 40. Miss me with all that nonsense. Everyone knows it. That's the worst part. Every time we hear these guys talk like this, everyone knows that it's nonsense. Everyone knows that it doesn't make any sense, but we're too afraid to point it out. As a matter of fact, you know who keeps pointing it out, except he supports it? Nick Fuentes comes forward and says, I'm all on board. I'm just glad they're finally talking like me.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, everyone's a groiper now. I don't even know these people. I've never met these people, and I don't know that they identify as groipers. I don't believe they talked about me. If they did, I'm sure it'd be in here. But it just goes to show this is the mood of my generation. This is the mood. This is the zeitgeist of the under 25, under 30 crowd, especially for white men. It's just where they are. These guys were doing a great thing. These guys are, they're not woke, they're based, and they're doing what they're supposed to be. They're rising up in the party leadership. They're rising up in the government. The mistake that they made is that they were sloppy.
The only difference between Nick Fuentes and JD Vance is that Nick Fuentes is speaking directly about the shit that he believes in. JD Vance is saying it with this very thin veil of, I support these racists. He just won't say that they're racist. Nick Fuentes is willing to say, yeah, we're a bunch of groipers, all of us. Their only problem was that they were sloppy with it. It is the same thing that JD Vance said. They just got their stuff revealed online and they got it weaponized against them. In other words, they were sloppy with their racism. Unlike me, JD Vance thinks that he's not sloppy with his racism. He actually thinks his way of talking is convincing people. People, like, they know how full of shit he is. They can see it. But did you just hear about this? Let me show you this picture. Apparently this is from some kind of online, I guess, group chat meeting or something in the office of Congressman Dave Taylor from Ohio. Of course, he's a Republican. See that American flag behind this guy? This is a staffer for Congressman Dave Taylor. I'm going to get to some details of it, but right in the middle of that American flag, there appears to be a swastika built in. So, of course, this is caught like fire everywhere. Some may wonder if it's been doctored. Politico obtained this image taken during a virtual meeting that shows the flag pinned to what appears to be a cubicle wall behind Angelo Elia, one of Taylor's staffers. Alongside that flag, with altered red and white lines in the shape of a swastika, are pinned images, including, ironically, a pocket constitution and a congressional calendar. It's unclear what role, if any, Elia had in that incident, but he also didn't respond to any request for it. Here's more, though, because here's some of the response from the congressman. He says, I'm aware of an image that appears to depict a vile and deeply inappropriate symbol near an employee in my office. He said this in a statement. The content of that image does not reflect the values or standards of this office, my staff, or myself, and I condemn it in the strongest terms. Taylor also said that he immediately directed a thorough investigation alongside the Capitol Police, and he added, no further comment will be provided until it has been completed, until we cover this up. The flag was found inside Taylor's office in the Cannon Building in Washington, D.C. Tuesday afternoon, according to an office spokesperson. And Taylor then believes it's the result of foul play or vandalism. So for the people, as you guys may see this online, that start saying things like, yo, man, that was AI. Yo, that was Photoshop. Man, they doctored that. They're trying to pull this off. You guys fall for all those tricks. I hear you. They should take it up with the office spokesperson that said the flag was found inside Taylor's office and that they believe it's foul play or vandalism, not Photoshop. I'm just reading what it is that's in front of us when when all the excuses start hitting the fan.